Boy, we've got a ton of information to go over here. This out of time team is insane. Specifically, Black Knight is going to be meta divining. I'm just going to call it right now. Black Knight is so good for my initial testing. Now, right here, we do have the new loading screen. We got leader, which I have zero information about. I think this is Iron Patriot. You'll let me know in the comment section for sure if I'm wrong on that, but no information about Iron Patriot. Now, we are going to go over Starbrand, which is a part of the Out of Time team, which is going to have reworks for OG Captain America and Carter. And then we're also going to go over Cosmic Ghost Rider, which is right here. And Black Knight is the one that I'm going to start off. There's also a small rework for Black Panther. Rather, there's some synergy. We'll go over that. Now, I think this guy is going to be meta defining. I really do. Like, this guy could be legendary. And I would not be surprised. Also, before I get into Black Knight, I think he's going to be arena viable also. Before I get into the Out of Time team, on War, I don't think we're going to be able to one-tap it until we get Mephisto. There's a specific call-out in the Cosmic Go Rider kit for Mephisto. I think it's going to be a two-tap. I literally went in there with, like, Super Scroll, Apocalypse, and Undying, and I got nowhere. This guy looks to be anti-Super Scroll. Let's get into why. First of all, this guy is a pre-taunting tank, so he spawns with taunt. Let me tell you something. In Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes and in Marvel Strike Force, pre-taunting tanks are good for a long time. We're still using Red Guardian and Drax and Absorbing Man. But this guy's actually going to do something. His counterattacks are absolutely devastating. Let's just read the kit. On spawn, gain taunt, defense up for 2 turns, immunity, and 5 charge. This is a big deal, the charge, up to a maximum of 5. On turn, gain 1 charge, up to a maximum of 3. On any turn, the first time this character has no charge, fill this character's speed bar by 100%. And what that means is when he finally takes a turn, he's going to do his special and then probably immediately go into his ultimate. That's how it played for me. When this character drops below 50% health, bury yourself for 30% of this character's max health, clear taunt. When a protector ally drops below 50% health, if this character is above 50% health, gain taunt. So you're going to pair him up with another taunting tank in Arena, Ms. Marvel Hardlight, inside of War or whatever. It's going to be OG Captain America. This guy's going to be good for a long time. I am totally blown away with this guy. I got to get to why. This is why right here. When an enemy attacks this character or any ally, if this character has charged and does not have exhausted, clear all barrier on the enemy and attack the enemy for 30% of this character's max health. Enemies killed by this attack cannot be revived. Clear immunity on that enemy and apply a heal block trauma and 3 bleed to that enemy. Lose a charge. This attack is unavoidable, cannot be blocked, and gains 1000% extra focus. I went into War with Super Scroll, and Super Scroll died before the other team took a turn. After attacking 3 times, I think Super Scroll had to attack 3 times, and Black Knight killed Super Scroll just with the counterattacks. I'm not kidding. Super Scroll was taking a bunch of turns, and I was like, the other team hasn't gone. Super Scroll took a bunch of turns, and Black Knight killed Super Scroll. I saw this happen in an arena also, where my Super Scroll was just dead. And how often have you played an arena match where your Super Scroll is like the first character to die? This kit is almost an anti-Super Scroll kit. And it's not super obvious why it's this anti-Super Scroll kit, but when I was playing, my Super Scroll was dying in arena. While this character has charged, this character's speed bar cannot be reduced. That's specifically going to shut down Super Scroll as reducing turn meter. Gain 50% max health on defense. Gain an additional 40% max health. So this is, I believe we saw something like this on Kang where it said on offense. On defense, so that's any game mode. On defense, gain additional 40% max health. Now, I'm not sure how that works in RTA, but I don't play RTA and I don't care. Gain 40% armor in war, gain an additional 5% armor per out of time ally, gain 50% resistance in war, gain an additional 25% resistance per out of time ally. While this character has defense up, this character gains a lot of resistance. Yeah, I was not able to apply like ability block to him when Super Scroll went first in the arena, and his turn meter didn't get knocked down. And he got smashed in the head back to back over and over again with this charge mechanic. It was scary. And then what I found is that this popped off, and for one reason or another, he was able to go back to back. Because of that 100% turn meter. And I don't know if it's always going to be this way, but it seems like every time on offense, he was using Black Knight, did the special, and then immediately followed up with the ultimate because of the 100% turn meter on the passive right here. It just seems like it worked out that way. Now, he's relatively fast. I want to give the speed. Well, not relatively fast, but useful enough. 117. I think you could do Striker on him. I think you could do Skirmisher on him. I tried Fortifier, and that was fun. Not 100% on the ISO, but this guy's good. Let's go to the special, because the special goes out first. Clear all negative effects from self and all allies. If negative effects removed from this character, heal self for 5% per negative effect removed. Heal self for 20% of max health. Attack primary target for piercing and apply ability block. And this is amazing. Gain, taunt, safeguard, and 2 charge up to a maximum of 3. And then when he gets those charges, he's going to do those crazy counterattacks again. Apply speed up and immunity to self, 1 random adjacent ally, and all out of time allies. Enemies killed by this attack cannot be revived. And this is why I think that Undying didn't work well. I tried combinations with Dormammu and this just basically made Undying not a thing. This attack gains additional piercing equal to this character's bonus armor %, ignores defense up, is unavoidable, and it cannot be blocked or counterattacked. Let's go to the special, which seemed to go back to back. Like by the time Black Knight took a turn, it was special, immediately following by the ultimate. Attack primary adjacent targets for 500% piercing and 30% of this character's max health as damage. Ah! Gain 1 charge up to a maximum of 3. Apply defense up to self and all allies. Apply offense up to all brawler allies. Enemies killed by this attack cannot be revived. This attack gains additional piercing equal to this character's bonus armor % and cannot be dodged or counterattacked. I'm telling you, this guy's good. If he was just a pre-taunting tank, that'd be fine. But it was just overwhelming how good this guy was. Like, I'm playing the team, I was like, that guy right there, Black Knight, is the superstar of the team. Like, blown away by this guy. Attack primary target for piercing, clear 1 random positive effect, apply deflect up to a maximum of 5 to self and most injured non-summoned ally. If the character is an out-of-time ally, apply additional 1 deflect up to a maximum of 5. This attack gains additional piercing equal to this character's bonus armor %. So we're going to go to the rest of the characters, or else this is going to be a long video. This is a character right here, in my limited testing, initial thoughts, was over the top good. Like, for me, he felt like legendary status. I will show his stats right here. Not garbage. Not garbage. I want to go to Cosmic Ghost Rider. And Cosmic Ghost Rider's passive is leading me to the conclusion that this team is probably not going to be one-tapped without Mephisto. I could get nowhere against this team when I played up against it in Alliance War. After an enemy uses an ultimate ability, if this character is not exhausted, bury yourself and all out-of-time allies for 30% of this character's max health. And that's why I was thinking maybe Fortifier would be good on Black Knight, because even if his health drops down, you know, if they do an ultimate, he gets barrier back, and then he's getting health back. from the drain on his counterattacks. I'm thinking Fortifier might be a good thing on Black Knight. I think we're going to do Striker on this guy right here on Cosmic Ghost Rider. Gain 30% max health and gain 200% focus. Now, this is super interesting. In war, lower the focus by 5,000% and damage by 50% for any non-Mephisto enemy that takes a turn before this character or any ally. So, we're going to keep going. And the other team, so this team is going to go on defense, and the opposing team is going to get a lot of turn meter because they give bonus turn meter based off of his kit, which we're going to get to in a second. But it doesn't matter. You're not going to land anything, and damages were reduced by 50%, right? Gain additional 30% max health, gain additional focus per out-of-time ally. This character has 4 or more out-of-time allies. Enemy speed bar that is gained on spawn is increased by 100%. And so that's what I was experiencing, is that my Super Scroll was taking a bunch of turns and getting counterattacked by Black Knight, and he was just dead after like 3 attacks or something like that. So they're going to get, so basically, you're not going to do damage. You're not going to land negative effects until they eventually take a turn, which is super wild. And I couldn't get through it. I tried a bunch of teams. That being said, that was just one person, me, testing for like an hour. I couldn't get through the team. And I tried Super Scroll, Apocalypse, Dormammu, Undying. I tried a lot of different combinations, but that's not saying that nobody won't find it. Maybe somebody will find a counter to this team in war. The team will certainly be a lot easier on the second attack when they have exhausted, because some of these things are not going to work with exhausted, right? After enemy uses an ultimate ability, if this character is not exhausted, right? See exhausted. And then there's a direct call out to Mephisto. So it's almost like their Mephisto is going to be the one-tap solution. All right. That was interesting. Now, let's go to Intergalactic Punishment. Clear all barrier on primary target, attack primary target for damage. Increased by 25% per positive effect on this character. Apply stun and trauma. That's always a good mechanic. Clear all battlefield effects on the enemy side. So that could get rid of Nova, right? That's like an anti-nowhere mechanic. This attack ignores defense up and cannot be blocked. In war, this attack cannot be dodged or counterattacked. Vengeance Slide. Pretty cool animations on these guys too. Attack all enemies for damage. Damage increased by 25% per positive effect on this character. Flip 2 positive effects into negative effects on all enemies. Flip all positive effects on all protector enemies instead. Apply defense down and heal block to all enemies. Apply stun to enemy protector with the highest speed, ignoring taunt and stealth. The enemy as a protector has defense down. Apply trauma. Clear all battlefield effects on the allied side. There you go. So that's going to wipe out Red Hulk, right? Basically, that's an anti-Red Hulk. This attack gains extra focus against protector enemies and cannot be dodged or counterattacked. Now, I do want to go into the basic attack on the sheet provided by Scopely, because this will have the ISO 8 counterattack, also 121. And then I'll just scroll up real quickly so you can see the ISO attack right here for Black Knight. You can screenshot that if you like, but here it is. Cosmic Whiplash, attack primary adjacent targets for damage. Damage increased by 25% per positive effect on this character in war. And if this character is not at full energy, if the primary attack is a controller, apply ability block to primary target. Generate 1 ability energy for this character and all out-of-time allies who were not at full energy at the start of turn. This attack cannot be dodged. And then here are the ISO 8. And I think Striker is probably going to be the correct choice on this if I were to guess. Attack primary adjacent targets for damage. Piercing, apply bleed. Damage is increased by 25% for positive effect on this character. In war, this character is not at full energy. The primary target is a controller. Apply ability block to the primary target. All right, there we go. Now, let's go into Starbrand. And I was a little underwhelmed with this guy, but maybe it's because I didn't have enough ISO 8 to get him all the way up and running. But his passive seems important. And he seemed okay. On spawn, apply immunity. That's great. To self and all out-of-time allies. Gain max health. Gain damage. Out of time and Black Panther 1 million is. And so there's some other call-outs in the Black Panther 1 million kit that are going to be to Starbrand. Gain damage and then gain drain. Out of time and black allies gain drain and then crit chance. In war, gain additional 30% max health, gain an additional 5% crit chance per out of time, and Black Panther 1 million ally, lower the barrier of all enemies by 5%. So this is kind of significant right here, because the way that barrier works right now in the game is that it's based off of the max health. And there's some exceptions to this. I think there's an exception on Darkhold and Morgan Le Fay's kit, and I think there's also an exception in Ms. Marvel Hard Light kit. But typically, barrier is capped at 30% of the character's max health. So I'm wondering if this lowers it to 25%, or if they just have 5% less of that 30%. I'm guessing that lowering the max barrier of all enemies by 5% means that they're going to be capped at 25%. I guess. I'm not really sure. Now let's get into the rest of the kit. Primeval Wrath. Attack primary target for damage. Apply stun and flip all positive effects and negative effects. Attack adjacent targets for 500% damage. Attack the most injured enemy, ignoring taunt and stealth for 500% damage. Apply 1 stun and flip all positive effects and negative effects. Enemies killed by this attack cannot be revived. Attack can't be dodged or counterattacked. In war, this attack ignores defense up. Star Strike, this is going to go off first. Attack the primary target for damage, apply slow, and reduce speed bar. So this is kind of nice. By 15% plus another 10% per out of time, and Black Panther 1 mil ally. Attack adjacent targets for damage, apply slow, and reduce speed bar by 15%. Attack the minion with the highest speed, ignoring taunt and stealth for 325% damage, apply slow, and reduce speed bar by 15%. This attack cannot be blocked or dodged. Now, I did try this team in Arena, and sometimes he just died before he got to take a turn. And that's why I was so blown away with Black Knight. I mean, I was testing it, and this guy would just be dead. So then I had to put him all the way on the end, as far away from Captain America and Black Knight, and then he survived. This was a meaningful attack, but I don't know how to put this. Black Knight just was like bonkers. He's so good. I can't wait to show off the footage of that. When I can in the future. Attack primary target for damage, apply offense down. Attack the enemy with the highest damage, ignoring taunt and stealth for 300% damage, and apply offense down. Now let's look at this data is not in game, and I did Raider on him, and that seemed fine because of the passive with all the crit bonuses. Attack primary target for 325%, apply offense down. Attack the enemy with the highest damage, ignoring taunt and stealth for 300% damage, apply offense down. Now that does not carry over to the ISO 8 counter attack assist. Attack primary target for damage, apply piercing, apply offense down. So I just did Raider on him, and he seemed fine. Now, there were stat increases to not only Captain Carter and OG Captain America, modest stat increases, 35% to resistance. Now, Captain America is getting a big chunk right here, 41% health, also a speed increase. And if I'm just going to summarize this in general, of course they get the out of time tag, but each one of these characters have raid specific bonuses that apply to Rebirth. And a lot of those raid specific bonuses that apply to Rebirth are now going to be added into war and be added to out of time. So if you're familiar with how they work in raids with Rebirth, largely they're going to react in the same way in war, specifically with the out of time team. So let's go over very quickly. Ability proper bash, and everything in yellow here is new. Apply regeneration to most injured ally. If that ally is Rebirth or out of time, apply 2 regenerations instead. And that also carries over on the ISO attack for Captain Carter. Then we've got Acrobatic Justice right here. Gain 3 deflects, 1 counter, 1 death buff in raids. Apply 3 def, 1 counter, 1 death to all Rebirth allies. In war, apply 3 deflect, 1 counter, 1 death buff to all out of time allies. Heal self and all Rebirth and out of time allies for 20% of this character's max health. Revive a dead Rebirth ally with 60% base health. So outside of war and raids, this will revive Captain America. Like it went into Arena, and this only revives Captain America. But in war, it'll revive out of time. All of it, the entire team. There are no Rebirth allies to revive, Extend all positive effects up by +1 up to a maximum 3 on all Rebirth allies. Now, this is war specific. In war, if there are no Rebirth or out of time allies to revive, extend all positive effects by +1 up to a maximum 3 on all 3 birth and out of time allies. Attack primary target for damage. In war, this attack cannot be counterattacked. Rolling Liberty. Now, attack all enemies for damage. Clear all negative effects from self and 2 negative effects from all allies. So this is the AoE that heals and removes negative effects. Heal self and all Rebirth and out of time allies for 30% of this character's max health. In raids, do this right here. Safeguard just to Rebirth. In war, if this character has 3 or more out of time allies, apply Safeguard to all the out of time allies. Kind of good. In war, this attack cannot be counterattacked. Now, here's the passive right here. On turn, apply regeneration for 2 turns to self and all Rebirth and out of time allies, and 50% chance to apply assist now to a random Rebirth and an out of time ally. So they're just adding the out of time tag to everything. Gain block chance and 20% chance for each Rebirth and out of time ally. Gain armor. Rebirth allies gain armor. In raids and war, gain an additional 30% armor for self. Gain 30% max health. Rebirth allies gain 30% max health. In raids and war, gain additional 30% max health for self. In raids, spawn with defense up for 2 turns. Itself and all Rebirth allies when this character or any Rebirth ally drops below 30% max health for the first time. Heal that character for 30% of this character's max health. Rebirth allies gain extra armor and max health. In war, works a little differently right here. On spawn, defense up for 2 turns to self and all 30 out of time allies. When this character or any out of time ally drops below 30% max health for the first time, heal that character for 30% of this character's max health. Captain America, again, it's largely the same thing. They're just adding the war, the raid abilities that applied to Rebirth to war on out of time, and only in war with out of time, not necessarily Rebirth. Clear all negative effects. Clear 5 effects from all Rebirth and out of time allies. Gain taunt for 2 turns. So this is special. Apply defense up for 2 turns. Immunity for 2 turns to self and all allies. That's new. Grant 1 ability energy to random Avenger allies. Grant 1 ability to 1 to 3 random allies. In raids, gain 1 ability to 4 random Rebirth allies. So this is pretty significant right here. The immunity to turns to self and all allies. And that is not specific, right? Shield throw. New. Attack. Let's see what's here. If this character has 1 or more wave 1, Rebirth, or out of time allies, fill speed bar for self by 60%. So that's just adding the out of time. This character has 3 or more Rebirth or out of time allies, gain extra focus on all attacks. Dodge breaks the chain and raids and war. If this character has 3 or more Rebirth or out of time allies, this attack can't be dodged. Passive. On spawn, apply 2 deflex to self and all allies when this character Rebirth out of time ally drops below 50% health. Clear all negative effects from self if this character is above 50% health. Also gain taunt for 2 turns. When this character drops below 50% health, clear taunt from self and fill speed bar random Captain Carter Winter Soldier ally by 30%. On death of Brave 1 Avenger, Rebirth out of time ally, heal all allies for 10% max health. Gain block chance of 20% for each Avenger, Rebirth, or out of time ally. Again, gain 20% block amount in raids and war. Gain an additional 30% block amount. Gain max health. This is the same. In war, gain additional twice max health for self and all wave 1 Avenger allies. In raids, gain additional max health for self and all Rebirth allies. And then we're going to get to Black Panther, where basically it adds an additional to War Dog. It says Starbrand. In war, War Dog and Starbrand allies gain armor. In war, War Dog and Starbrand allies gain resistance. So basically, it's just a call out. I don't know if any of this Black Panther 1 million is even worth mentioning. I feel like this is just like flavor text to give better lore with Starbrand. But for me, in my brief playtesting experience, this guy was terrifying. Pre-taunting tanks are important. This guy just felt like he is an anti-Super Skrull. I think he's going to get use in Arena. And some of the stuff on his kit just seemed bonkers. And I got to tell you, when I read the kit, I was like, oh, that's cool. That's cool. Then when I played against him, I was like, oh my God, this guy is a huge hassle. Let me know what you think in the comment section. And as always, thanks for watching. Keep on gaming. Bye for now.
It's an eye for eye.